Welcome back. WCCO, 9 to noon, midday. Blois Olson, I'm in today. I'll be in tomorrow. Joining me now, Michelle MacDonald, who's running for the Minnesota Supreme Court. And as I was thinking about it, Brett Kavanaugh's hearings are one way to select Supreme Court justices. And in Minnesota, we actually have elections, and there's a competitive election this year. And I thought I'd bring on Michelle MacDonald, who's running and has run before for the Supreme Court. Michelle, thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm a first-time caller, long-time listener.
Well, great.
Hello to all of your listeners and the good people of Minnesota.
Well, thank you. You've been fairly visible. You've run before. You've been endorsed by the Republican Party in previous campaigns. Is it your sense that, either activism or partisanship is part of a good thing running for Supreme Court?
Well, let's see. That's one of those loaded questions. I'm speaking out because courts need reform. I've been an attorney in the system for 30 years, and I don't think the current judges want to talk about that because they think business as usual is okay. But their court orders are damaging people and families. There's severe failure to follow the rule of law, to follow our Constitution and uphold it. And quite frankly, our civil rights are being violated by courts all over the state.
One of the cases you've been involved in was with Sandra Grazzini-Rucki. Is that one of the cases that you're referring to of civil rights being violated?
Yes, that's one of the cases. That was just one of those cases that went viral because what happened in that case is that I handled a trial while under arrest with no mother, no pen, no paper, no materials.
Okay.
And the children had run away. So that was a civil rights violation even before that happened. I had, on behalf of Sandra, sued the presiding judge. His name was David Knutson. I sued him in federal court. That suit was pending when she was having her custody trial, and that event occurred.
Ultimately, though, it was proven that Sandra Grazzini-Rucki was found guilty of denying the father's rights. So were his rights violated by her, or were her rights violated by the court?
Both of their rights were violated the court. What the public needs to be aware of is that the reason I got involved, and I did the case pro bono, is that Sandra came to me, and both she and her and the father, not her husband at the time, had no contact with their children whatsoever. The judge did that in September of 2012 without any hearing, without any process, and in 2 hours ordered her, she was already divorced, to leave her home, leave her children there, whom she had custody of, 5 of them, and ordered her to not return or else she'd be arrested. And she couldn't go to their churches. She couldn't have any contact with them. That was in 2012, and that was the father as well. The order applied to both Sandra and the father.
But once the court decided, when did you find when the kid? You said the children ran away,
right?
But ultimately, it was found that Sandra Grazzini-Rucki knew where the children were. When did you know where the children were?
Well, this was years later, and I didn't know until it was reported on the news.
Okay. So when you...
So I had no idea. What the public doesn't know is all 5 of them ran away from their own home that they had lived in for 14 years. In September of 2012, they went to the police station. They ended up living with another aunt, and that was the status of the case. The 2 girls were being moved back into their home to not have custody of their dad. Their dad didn't have custody yet, but were being moved into their home that they had been away from for months. They hadn't had any contact with either parent
Yep.
for months, and that was the day they ran away.
Okay. And you didn't know where they were?
I didn't know where they were. I knew they had disappeared, ran away.
Okay.
I had no idea of her involvement, and ultimately she was convicted. That was months down the road.
Right. But it was
years.
the idea that she had. So one of the things we always talk about, and we're talking about it in the Kavanaugh situation, is temperament. There's a voicemail about you talking about David Rucky's attorney that I want to play, and I want to get your reaction. As a candidate for Supreme Court, is this the kind of temperament that Minnesotans can expect from you if you're elected?
Hey, so I go to a event downtown, a lawyer event, and who's there? And it's one we are very familiar with, like Cooperative Private Divorce, that group I've been in since the beginning, talking about the statute. Who's there? But Lisa Elliott. I'm like, oh my God. So she's there, and it's just like, okay, seeing her in a different setting, and you just want to, if I had a gun, I might shoot her just because I just hate her.
My guest is Michelle MacDonald, candidate for the Minnesota Supreme Court. Michelle, that's a voicemail that you left for Sandra Gerzini-Rucky. Is that the kind of temperament that somebody running for Supreme Court should have?
Well, of course not, and that's a private voicemail, and I'm sure judges all across the state have private conversations like that. So obviously, no, that is not my temperament, and it hasn't been my temperament at all. I've been
well, why would you say something like that?
Everything through the court system.
Why would you say something like that, though, that you wanted to shoot another lawyer?
Hey, it's just an expression.
Okay.
I'm sure you've said it.
No, actually, I haven't.
Before, so.
No, I actually have never said that I wanted to shoot somebody.
Yeah, I know that was something I regret. But again, it was a private conversation because the situation has been out of hand, and it's still out of hand.
Okay, one of the things that people expect from judges, I think, is that they're honest. There's been other reporting that you did know where the girls were. In fact, that you actually said to Sandra Gerzini-Rucky, I don't want the story to be about a mom hiding her girls. Is there anything you want to come clean with today about when you knew the girls were missing and what Sandra told you?
Well, I know I've said a lot of things, and I know many things are taken out of context. That was taken out of context as well. But I heard that it was the same day everybody heard. I had no idea. She didn't tell me.
Okay.
And even if she had, and this is one of the things that really is bothersome, and your listeners and judges and lawyers should be bothered by this. I'm her attorney. Things are private.
Yep.
Obviously, I have many conversations with her as her family court attorney. This was one that I did not have. So I'm just telling you, I didn't know. And even if I did, that it's attorney-client privilege. She could have confessed to crimes. I never thought that what she did was a crime. The crime happened with the courts when Judge Knudsen did an order that neither parent could contact their kids. That's when the deprivation happened.
Okay.
At that moment. And that was back in September of 2012.
So even though you've been sanctioned, and that even though the court ultimately found her guilty and named you and law enforcement named you as a person of interest, you think that all should fall under attorney-client privilege, even if somebody's hiding their children?
Anytime you go to an attorney and tell them something, it's privileged.
Yep. Okay.
So that's just the way our law is, and if that is going to be disrupted and not honored, then it's a sad, sorry state of affairs if people can't go to attorneys and tell them certain events.
Got it. As we wrap up the interview, is there anything that you want voters to know in advance of the November election?
Well, basically, for the last 30 years, I've stood up to judges on behalf of individuals and families so that people could earn the basic recognition of their civil and constitutional rights in our society, rights once recognized as sacrosanct to everybody. And I'm running for Minnesota Supreme Court because time and time again, as one attorney representing thousands of people across the state, I've witnessed an unprecedented display of courts abusing their discretion and authority, damaging people and families.
Got it.
Sandra Grazzini-Rucky is an example of that.
Okay. Michelle MacDonald, candidate for Supreme Court, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much.